You see, I was this person as a kid. I was 10 years old, and I tried to blow my brains out. You think 10? That's a time to be thinking of being a fireman or a doctor or an astronaut. I wanted to die. Dr. Charles Cooley wrote a book called The Looking Glass Self, and where he said, I don't tell you who I am because you may not like me, and that's all that I have. When people are in pain, there are 4 rules. Don't talk, don't trust, don't feel, and pretend nothing ever happened. Why would a 10-year-old kid try to blow his brains out? Thank God the gun had a safety. I didn't know how to use it. My grandmother is Hungarian and German. We called her French fry. She was tall, white, and skinny. My grandfather was a black Cuban, big sugarcane worker. We called him Hamburger. Hamburger met French fry, they made a Happy Meal. And they had 7 McNuggets. Biracial mulatto family living in Ohio. They bought their first home, a little town called Buckeye. Bought their first car. The American dream is happening for them. My grandfather had a problem. He was very dark, and where he grew up, it was a shameful thing to be dark, and he was teased. He was insecure about his color and about his size. He had huge arms. He worked in the sugarcane fields as a kid. He was taking his wife out for their anniversary. And a man that was also inebriated and drunk that night saw my grandmother and him hugged up and walked up and said to my grandfather and to my grandmother, "Lady, why would you be a nigger lover? Why would you love a black nigger like that?" My grandfather, whose arms were gigantic, hit the man one time and broke his neck. Thank God the man didn't die. But he went to the worst prison in Ohio, Mansfield Reformatory, in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day. It hit the papers that my grandmother was married to this felon, so she got fired from her job. But, you know, being a Deutschland, wunderbar, Fräulein, she didn't complain. She worked odd jobs, cleaning toilets and waiting on other people's kids, and she worked hard. The problem was she had migraines and would pass out, and she would never go to the doctor. Finally, they discovered she had a tumor growing behind her left eye. They took out her eye and a third of her face. She was disfigured for life. She couldn't work. What do you do when the American dream becomes an American nightmare? They lost their house, their car, their furniture. They lived on the streets from place to place. My mom was 14 when this all happened. My mother looks an exotic, beautiful woman. But sometimes beauty, my friends, in the wrong situation can be a curse and not a blessing. There was a guy named Larry who was a pimp in the community. He knew about their plight. He was a predator. And he said to my 14-year-old mom, he said to her, "Your mama's dying, your daddy's in prison, your brothers are eating and throwing up water, they're dying. What is school going to do for you? What is school doing for you?" He said, "You know what? You're sitting on a gold mine." And she said, being 14, "Where?" He said, "You're sitting on it." "What do you mean?" "Let me help you." "Can I help you? Can I help you?" Yeah. We said, "Well, you know what? I have grown men, businessmen, who would spend money on you just for a date. That's all." We call it being turned out. And my beautiful mother, who's my best friend on earth, who I love her to death, works in our company today. She became a call girl at 14, selling her young body to grown men for scraps. 2 years of doing that, she got pregnant. It's called having a trick baby. You're turning a trick, you get pregnant, there you are. The pimp said, you can't make any money looking like that. No prenatal care, lots of alcohol, you name it. The kid was born premature, lung problems, ear problems. You know what it's like knowing that you're a trick baby growing up? My mom would go out and she would hire a babysitter. It was a madam. This woman would take a broom handle and do things to me. People ask, what is it like when you're sexually abused? What does it feel like? I'll tell you, you feel nothing. You become numb. The only way you can survive and get through that hell is to somehow separate yourself from your reality. And I had somebody ask me and say to me, well, during that time of my life, you know, God is love. And I said, if God is love, why is he doing this to me? What did I do? I was 10. What did I do? From that, I couldn't talk. I am what is called a spastic stutterer. When I was in school and I tried to get up to answer a question, I would spit and froth at the mouth, get into convulsive fits. And of course, my friends saw that. They had a poem about me. The poem was, his name is Renardo. He is a retardo. He sits on the steeple. When he talks duck, he spits at the people. You know what it's like to be smart? You know you're a smart kid, but because you're so ashamed of yourself, you sit there and you say nothing. You act stupid, so they leave you alone and don't call on you. They call me edgibical retarded. He can't learn. What do they do with me? They put me in a boiler room, and I finger painted all day and made macaroni wheels, left to rot. I wet the bed. I smelled like urine every day. It looked like hell. Mom didn't know what to do. But organizations like yours, there was a teacher in my school named Mrs. Spears. She was involved in inner city ministries. She looked for kids like me. She viewed her inner city school as a mission field, not to evangelize, but to help kids who weren't getting it. She had me, Mrs. Spears, God bless you, had me look in an old Goodwill tape recorder and had me read some phrases like this. I'm an inner city black kid who can't talk, wet the bed, been raped multiple times, and she making me read, the sea ceaseth and it sufficeth us, and proper preparation prevents poor performance and possible punitive punishment, and it dawned the dawn when I thought she was crazy. And then made me watch a movie. I thought she was really sick then. This is torture. I know what this is. Made me watch The Sound of Music. The Sound of Music! A black boy from the hood watching Julie Andrews going, do a dear, a female dear. I love that movie. My kids have to watch it every time it comes on. Because that woman and her passion and her vigor and her philanthropy changed my life. She wouldn't let me go. She wouldn't let me fail. She wouldn't let me stop. And she taught me about a guy named Moses, not Noah. And said, guess what? He was just like you. He was alone in a basket. He couldn't talk. He was a stutterer. But look at what he did. She says, I see the same thing. First time I ever heard this. I see the same thing in you. Oh, God. Hope in the midst of disaster. Hope, when somebody who's in a business to help other people helps you to see what you cannot see, is transformational. What changes toxic people? It is somebody who refuses